Good morning, competitors. Can you see and hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Welcome to the JDC West 2021 Business Strategy Case Presentation, sponsored by Bison Transport. Thank you to our judges, Richard Bergman from Bison Transport, Robert Hyde from Hyde Management Services, Dante Calla from Bison Transport, Jason Dodd from Bison Transport, and Brent Turman from Integra Credit Union. Competitors will have a maximum of 20 minutes to present. Immediately following the presentation, judges will have a total of 5 minutes to ask the presenters questions. I am our academic moderator who will be timekeeping and controlling the overall flow of the presentation. Time intervals will be noted in the Zoom chat by myself, beginning at the 10-minute mark. Following the presentation, I will facilitate the question and answer period. Judges will indicate their intent to ask a question using the hand raised function, which I will call on them to indicate the next question. No questions or comments will be permitted from the audience at any time. The audience is also prohibited from communicating to the presenters in any forum, including Zoom or via other mediums during the presentation or questions. If you are an observer, please ensure that your camera is off and microphone is muted. Once the question period is completed, the Zoom meeting will end. Competitors, you are free to begin your presentation.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. Bison Transport is a company that originated 50 years ago in Manitoba, Winnipeg. And from this time, since 1969 of origination, the company has seen extreme success, growth, and innovation within its operations. Today, I'd like to pose the following quote for you. Don't reinvent the wheel, just realign it. And I'd like you to take this quote into consideration as we bring you through this presentation today about how to bring Bison into the future. My name is Allison, and I'm here with my colleagues Bailey and Noor, and we are Novus Consulting. And we are so excited to be bringing you through our presentation today, again, about how to drive Bison into the future and to adapt the way that you use technology within your company. Thank you so much for having us, Mr. Chase, and we look forward to bringing you through our presentation today. So the first thing we'll be addressing is reaching your destination. And from today's presentation, we want to address three separate issues. And the first of these is, should Bison build or buy a platform for their broker customer freight? And our recommendation for this is that Bison should build the platform for this new brokerage system. The impact of this will be an NPV of $165 million, which is nearly a third of your current revenue. The next issue we'll be addressing is how can Bison increase usage for this new brokerage platform? And our recommendation for this is that the features will allow carriers to bid on loads, as well as bid on the loads that they sell and set their own prices. And this will increase competition between carriers and consumers. The impact of this is that will increase the ABL revenue to 50% from its current 25% of Bison's revenue. This is nearly 100% increase in current revenue. The last issue we'll be addressing is how can Bison best capitalize on new legislation? And our recommendation for this is to utilize the ELDs to track drivers and compile that data to increase efficiency for your company. The impact of this will be a staff efficiency increase of 25%. Diving into our situational analysis today, the first thing we want to do is look at fixing the engine and the problem statement, which is, should Bison Transport build or buy a digital brokerage platform? And how can Bison best capitalize on this new platform? The first thing we did was look under the hood, and Bison has a very impressive engine. So the first thing we did was look at your strengths. The first of these is that you are the 6th largest fleet in Canada, managing 2,150 tractors, 6,000 trailers, and 30,000 trucks at this point in time, which is very impressive. The next is that you are voted as the best 20 fleets to drive for by the Truckload Carriers Association for the 10th time. And additionally, ABL has grown to over 50,000 transactions annually, which is quite a bit from when it started. Some weaknesses or areas of improvement for the company include that ABL currently only accounts for 25% of the revenue, and this could potentially be much higher, especially as digitalization continues. Another weakness is the manually intensive brokerage process you currently use, and it doesn't allow Bison to operate at its full potential. The last of these is a lack of direct communication between carriers, and consumers given the current platform that you use. And from these, we conclude that the greatest strength for Bison is your industry presence and your market share. Looking at the external analysis, we wanted to check the road conditions before we sent you on your way. And some opportunities that we located is that there's a 0.4% growth rate for long distance freight trucking in Canada at this point in time. And that's compiled over the last 5 years from 2015 to 2020. Additionally, there's new Canadian ELD legislation that will be coming in, I believe, June 12th of this year. And the legislation that is similar that was implemented into the states resulted in a 40% increase in rates for freight trucking. So we believe this is a great opportunity to delve into. And next is that there's a growing use of industry data collection used for operations efficiency. Some threats or potential bumps in the road that you might hit are that industry technology standards are driving digital platforms, and it's changing to become more advanced technology every day. Another threat is competition from industry leaders that you face, such as C.H. Robinson, that has an 18 million annual shipments per year, and also Coyote Logistics, based in Chicago, that has 100,000 daily shipments every day on average. And the final threat is there's a decline in industry revenue this year due to effects of the pandemic, although you did recover very significantly in the third quarter of the previous year, which was very impressive. From this, we've concluded that without adapting to industry technology standards, Bison will soon end up at the back of the fleet, and that is not what we want to see for your company. Next, we kept an eye on the road and we looked at a competitive analysis. Although Bison does have a very large market share similar to its competitors that we see on the right, such as Coyote, C.H. Robinson, FreightWaves, and J.B. Hunt, it does lack in that technology advancements area. And we'd like to see it improve and move to the advanced technology area. And so from that, this is where we'd like to see Bison positioned after our recommendation for you today. And concluding, Bison Transport needs to get ahead of the fleet by advancing their technology use in operations. And we'll talk about that, what that will look like later in the presentation today. Next, we wanted to look at who is behind the wheel? Who's the most important people to consider when we're looking at your company today? And the first that we identified is your carriers and your customers. Currently, the ABL unit of Bison handles 50,000 transactions annually, and these customers want competitive prices. They want efficient processes so that their goods and services are being delivered in a timely manner, and they want seamless services that they know they won't run into problems with. The next that we looked at is your professional drivers. Currently, you do employ 2,600 professional drivers, and these individuals are mostly concerned with reasonable hours, which will be managed by the EDL legislation coming in. I believe it manages them at 11 hours a day max out. They'll also be looking at appreciation from your company and job security. And finally, the ABL staff. Currently, you do have 50 staff under the ABL program that mainly consists of logistics and management. And these individuals are concerned with workplace efficiency and job security as well, in addition to those professional drivers. And the conclusion of this is that the most important stakeholder to consider today is the primary user of this platform, which will be your carriers and your customers. Bailey is now going to take a look at our decision criteria for you.
Thank you so much, Allison. So when we were coming up with our recommendation for you today, we really wanted to focus on your company goals and in terms of putting the pedal to the metal on getting this going. The first thing that we recognized was that ELD mandate and the fact that Canada's mandatory use of electronic logging devices is coming into effect on June 12th. The second goal that we wanted to recognize is the desire for digitization. And we recognize that the ATL division needs to adopt and follow the growing industry trend to reach that 90% digitization goal by 2022, along with those other goals such as the estimated 1 million in savings and the additional productivity gains that your company can see. The third goal that we looked at is a seamless integration of whatever platform you decide to go with. We recognize this as crucial because we need to ensure that if there are any service disruptions, they are extremely minimal, because at the end of the day, your carriers and any of the companies that you work with cannot afford to have any delays in having their products shipped. So this is why we have taken all three of these into consideration. And the impact that all three of these a solution that incorporates the three of these all together is exactly what your company needs to maintain its competitive advantage within the industry, as well as keep up with those growing industry trends towards more digitization and towards a more technology-driven focus. And so we also wanted to look at, we had 4 decision criteria that we took into consideration specifically with our recommendation for you. And we really wanted to choose the right fuel for your engine. The first thing that we looked at is improved profitability. And then the second thing that we wanted to take into consideration with this is also reducing costs. So we believe that you are allowed to or able to really increase your efficiency, given that if you move towards digitization, you will be able to really connect with your customers more because you're not going to be focusing on those really manual calling everybody, writing everything down. So everything will just really improve in efficiency. We also wanted to look at increasing margins, given that, as we all know, as profits increase and costs decrease, that's what happens with margins. And then the final thing that we took into consideration is that more carriers and products using the platform and going through this is really crucial to your company. And so we recognized when we were evaluating all the roads that you could take, there are 2 main decisions that need to be addressed. Firstly, your company could build a brokerage platform in-house, and building this third-party logistics brokerage within your current IT capabilities would allow you to customize it to exactly what you want and exactly the unique functionality needs that you need to be the most efficient you can. And then the second alternative is to buy that external brokerage platform from a company such as Horizon Software's Eagle Eye that I know you have been looking at previously. And this would allow you to provide available freight and any capacity matching solutions. And when we looked at the 2 of them, we recognized that building the brokerage platform in-house is really what allows you to choose your own destiny and follow the path that you want to in order to remain in charge of the path that you can follow. And so we put these decision criteria along with the 2 alternatives into a matrix just to really visualize why we chose our recommendation. And so we recognize that while build does allow for increased profitability, reducing costs, increasing margins, and also more carriers using the platform just due to the nature of its digitalization, while the buy option is also capitalizing off the digital aspect, we believe that it doesn't allow for any increased profitability, reducing costs, or increasing margins just because it does not have the efficiency aspect, given that it doesn't serve exactly what your business needs. And this is why we believe that building it in-house is the best option for you. And so to really highlight exactly what our recommendation is going to entail, the first step of it is to build the platform that we have called Bison Connect. Building this customer freight brokerage platform in-house allows your company to incorporate the features it deems most important and ultimately be in charge of your own destiny, which you have noted is so important to your company. The second aspect of this is to integrate this Bison Connect platform features and allow carriers to bid on the loads. And this will increase the platform's usage and then in turn increase ABL's revenue to 50% of Bison's, up from the previous 25%. And then the third aspect of this recommendation is to utilize that new ELD legislation to your advantage in order to further improve that efficiency. And we recommend doing this by compiling any data, such as the routes taken and the associated times with them, in order to make real-time changes to where your drivers are going and the routes that are taking. And we believe that this will lead to an increase in employee efficiency by 30%. And the highlights of this recommendation is that it does provide a great net project value of $165 million and also a cumulative annual growth rate of 30.27%. And so Nora will take you through the implementation of this recommendation.
Thank you so much, Bailey. Now, when viewing the route that we have laid out for you, we recognize that it will take around 3 quarters to implement our entire recommendation, and we have divided our implementation into 3 phases. Phase 1 involves hiring a consultant for a full year, quarter 1 to quarter 4, just to oversee that entire implementation and ensure a seamless transition to your new platform. And phase 2 is mostly concerned with that construction of Bison Connect, which will take around 40 weeks we have estimated for you and around $2.9 million, as well as aligning yourself with that new ELD legislation coming out on June 12th of 2021. And finally, phase 3 involves ensuring legal protection, potential legal mitigations, as well as that final launch of Bison Connect. Let's start the engine. The first activity to do so is to hire a consultant to oversee implementation, as I previously mentioned. This should be conducted by the management department, and it should take around 3 weeks to find the firm or find the consultant to hire. And you will be hiring them for the full year, as I said, just to ensure that seamless transition to the Bison Connect platform, as well as the new bidding features. This should cost around $200,000 to have them for the full year. The second activity involves arranging that team of 20 employees to construct Bison in-house, and this will be conducted by the management department and IT. We have identified that you currently have 50 employees within ABL. So we decided that that team of 20 employees would allocate 15 hours per week per employee to do so. And the cost of just arranging that team will cost around $4,000. And the team should be made by February of 2021. It should take around 2 weeks. And this will allow you to allocate those resources to building that new system and just really ensure that no more or less is being put towards it. The final activity is to market that new bidding and Bison Connect system. This will be marketed to both your current and potential customers, and it should be conducted by the marketing department, and it should cost around $1.5 million and completed over the next 8 weeks. And this will allow for a 30% year-over-year increase in transactions. So this is the prep for introduction of the new platform through communicating to employees and ensuring seamless implementation. Let's warm up the vehicle. The first activity is to begin the construction of Bison Connect and include that bidding feature. This should be done by the IT team, and it should cost actually it should cost $4,000 just to begin that construction and just ensure everything is on time, on track, and it should be completed. The entire construction will take around 40 weeks. And the impact of this project will be an NPV of 165 million, as well as the increase of the ABL revenue mix to 50% from its current 25%. The second activity involves aligning your new platform with the new Canadian ELD legislation. This should be done by the consulting and potentially the management department, and it should cost around $10,000 just to ensure everything's aligned. And this will allow you to take advantage of new efficiencies that the ELD can offer and increase transaction price by 30%. So let's secure those recommendations with legal mitigations and capitalize off that new legislation. In hitting the road, that involves hiring that legal team, which will cost around $67,000, and the hiring will be done by the management department, and the legal team will be hired for around 3 weeks to mitigate potential liabilities and ensure employee safety and their consent to being tracked. The second activity involves the completion of Bison Connect and that bidding platform. This should be conducted by management and IT, and altogether that cost of Bison Connect will be around $2.9 million, and the completion, just rounding out the project, should cost $4,000 just to round everything out, make sure everything's completed, and it will allow a 110% increase in ABL revenue. Finally, the last activity is to launch Bison Connect and the bidding systems. This should be done by the marketing department. It should involve a launch party of some sort, and it should cost around $1.5 million and be completed by September of 2021 to increase visibility and interest. So this phase involves marketing that new platform and, again, ensuring legal liabilities are mitigated. I will be going over risk and mitigation later in Q&A. And now on to metrics. Some assumptions we made in our recommendation was a discount rate of 10%, as well as the fact that your current average price per transaction is around $1,400, and your new price after the ELD legislation will be around $1,800, and that is a 30% increase compared to that 40% increase seen in the US. And finally, your current revenue for ABL is around $70.8 million annually. So again, those setup costs include building that platform, which should be $2.9 million. Consulting and legal fees should amount to $268,000, and finally, marketing should be $3.54 million. Some recurring costs we have identified is the maintenance of Bison Connect, or BC for short, as well as the new bidding feature, and this should cost around $195,000 annually to just maintain it and keep an eye on it, and marketing should be 100,000. So the total cost over the next 6 years is 9.18 million. Let's know your speed. So the NPV of our project is 165 million, and we want you to finance this project through any free cash flow you have, as well as potentially a loan. And your project forecasted profit will see a CAGR of 30.3%. And by the end of 2026, you will be making around 80 million per year just from this project. This is the end of the road. So that freight you will see through digitized processes will be 90% by December 2022. You will see a 25% increase in staff productivity by December of 2024. Increase to ABL revenue contribution will hit 50% by 2025. And finally, that CAGR of 30.3%.
Thank you so much, Noor. So with our recommendation today, you will be able to capitalize on your company and maintain control over the company that you have worked so hard to build. I'd like to come back to the quote we started with, which is, don't reinvent the wheel, just realign it. You've done a fantastic job of inventing the wheel that is your company, and now it's time to realign it to the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, competitors. Judges, you may use the raised hand function to ask any questions. Dante, you can start.
Good afternoon. Just curious, wanted to understand what assumptions were made. There was a couple of times mentioned that you would see increased productivity in staff. I believe the last slide was 25% increase in staff efficiency. Just curious what assumptions were made to come up with that figure.
So right now, a lot of the processes we saw in employees and just a lot of things that you wanted to eliminate with that digital process included making calls and just updating things manually. So that would be eliminated through the digitized process or digitized platform and increased by a lot. So that would lead to around a 25% increase in employee productivity. We didn't want to increase it too much because of course they're going to still be working. It won't like eliminate everything, but yeah. It should increase efficiency by quite a bit.
Okay, Robert, you can go next.
Good morning. You have mentioned the need for an external consultant in the implementation phase. Looking to understand what it is that you're looking for from that consultant in terms of skills and expertise and what they are being hired to address.
So that consultant will be really looking at that new legislation that Canada will be releasing on June 12th and making sure that your company doesn't see any service interruptions with that introduction. And as well, they will also be experienced with technology so they can ensure that your employees are working on time at a good pace and that there aren't any interruptions that need to be communicated to your customers.
Okay, Jason, you can go next.
Hi there. Just looking for a little bit more insight. $1.5 million is the expense on the marketing side, which is about half the total. Who are your key, I guess, who are the key parties that you're focusing that marketing strategy on, and what does that approach look like to them?
So in terms of Bailey, I'll let you take that.
So in terms of the marketing and who we believe would be best targeted, we believe that through this digitization, while you can really capitalize and reach those current customers such as Walmart and anybody that you're partnering with to carry freight, we believe that through this efficiency, you can also communicate with other potential businesses. So we believe that marketing towards them would be best, as well as just kind of marketing towards the current customers and the changes that are happening. So we believe those two parties would probably be the best to focus that marketing strategy towards.
Richard?
Yes, good morning. Wondering whether you gave any consideration, or why you didn't give rather any consideration for a return to buy a solution. So in your matrix, in your decision matrix, you referred to no increased profitability, why there wouldn't be an NPV or a return on investment in that if we bought.
That's a great question. Thank you so much. So regarding the profitability that we saw for the buy option, the reason that we did digress away from that option is because the time that it would take to implement that option for your company, we believe is going to be too long and that you'll lose out on the opportunity costs of implementing this application now and having the platform be efficient and running properly at this point in time rather than being delayed into the future, given that when using an outside platform for the company, it would have to be adapted to all the individual needs that your company has. And this is going to take time, and time is money. So because of that, we believe that the profitability of adapting it yourself will be quicker and will also result in profitability earlier, which is why that profitability was not an option for the buy option.
All right, Brent.
Morning. Just a strategic question. I'm going to go back to your kind of SWOT analysis. You indicated an opportunity and growth in a market that appears to be stagnant, growing 0.4%. And I'm wanting to better understand where you saw those opportunities. Do you see the market growing, or do you see an investment in this platform as an opportunity to steal market share from competitors? Just looking to better understand the opportunity you saw.
So this is actually a bit of both. It's an opportunity to steal from competitors, as well as recognizing that there is more of a need, because it's such a slow growth rate, there is more of a need to go towards that digitized solution.
All right, we have time for one quick question from Dante.
Yeah, I kind of, Jason somewhat asked it, but I wanted just to follow up on it. There was talk about marketing. One of the biggest challenges is having carriers willing to agree to being part of digital platform. What considerations were given to what marketing to the carrier base looks like, and what this product would offer versus what a Coyote or CH Robinson would offer?
That's a great question. Thank you. So the platform that we've outlined for these companies, which will be marketed to what I believe it was Bailey mentioned, the carriers and the consumers and customers, which are primarily who will be using the application. The big benefit for them truly is that application of competition. So when they go to post a bid, not only will it allow them to align their bid with who wants to buy, it'll also allow them to have more competition. So for a consumer that wants to post, their product on this platform, it will allow them to have competition so that the different carriers can bid over their product, which will result in them having a higher price. And then for the carriers, they're allowed to bid on products, which result in more fair price for them. So
all right, and that concludes the question and answer period. Thank you very much, competitors. Competitors and observers, you may now drop off the call, and judges can meet me in the next Zoom call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.